Before you started your YouTube channel, did you actually think about the cost, the financial cost to start, the emotional cost of actually being a YouTuber?
Well, you know what? I watched so many videos about starting a YouTube channel, and they just said use what you have.
Well,
So
I actually always use what you have.
so we just started with the phone. It's the phone that we have, and I bought a cheap wireless microphone, which was terrible. So I would really suggest when you are getting started, invest in a good microphone because then eventually we had to stump up money to buy a really good microphone. So this is the Rode Wireless Go, and we have two microphones, so we can do this here. So yeah, when I first started, I just had the assumption that I can just get started with anything, and I didn't really think about the cost that much. But slowly, it creeps up, and the amount that you keep investing keeps increasing. So it's partly the enjoyment of creating that you naturally want to improve the quality of your setup, but it's also giving that better experience to your viewers.
But what about the cost of time, the amount of time that you invest in your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah,
At one point, you were
yeah,
publishing content like on a daily basis,
yeah,
right? And obviously, you weren't getting any money for that, not even AdSense money at the time.
yeah.
So, what about the cost, the time factor? So, elaborate on the time, the cost of time, because you're putting in all these hours
Yeah.
every day, hoping to get monetized at that point, and on the YouTube channel that you have. So,
Yeah.
how does it feel when you know you're investing this much of time into something and you aren't actually getting any money from it yet? And
Okay.
people say just do YouTube for fun, but I'm
Yeah.
talking about when you see YouTube as a business.
Okay. You have to realize it takes a lot of hours. You put a lot of time into it with little reward in the beginning, even after the beginning. So you have to put a lot of time, and it takes longer than you expected.
Yes.
But the thing that I've learned the most is to be relaxed when you are creating. I think when you feel like that you have to make everything perfect, that, okay, you have to get the perfect setup, speak in a perfect way, look in a certain way, it adds to the pressure. And maybe that's your niche where you have to be a presenter, as if you will. So this can take time to learn. And I think what I've learned over the hundreds of hours of creating content is to be relaxed. That's the greatest thing that I've learned because for me personally, when I put so much effort into the video, it takes a lot of time, and I think this is important for you to realize when you're getting started on your YouTube journey. Obviously, it depends on your niche. So, say for example, this is just an example. If you are in the education niche, the edutainment niche, you will have to take time in researching, creating the video, editing the video. That was the biggest thing for me, is that when you create a video, then you have to rewatch it. And then
Yes.
you have to get used to watching yourself and listening to yourself.
And were you comfortable doing that?
I was okay because I knew, okay, I wasn't so hyper focused on how I sounded or how I looked because I wanted to create the content. For me, because I love like gadgets and I love working with editing software, I would make it too convoluted. And I would think, okay, I want to add this slide, I want to add this animation. And it made the whole process longer. And it wasn't really about being a perfectionist because I didn't want it to be perfect, but I had a vision in my head that I wanted to create. And it just took too long. And then in the end, I realized, okay, you need to get to the message, to the point, and these things are nice to have. If you can add animations and slides later, and it's a learning process. It's a learning process, just small things. For example, I would watch a lot of YouTube content when it comes to creating engaging videos. So like having a slow zoom in or slow zoom out. So when we think about the cost, you make a really good point about the time factor. So for yourself, when it comes to investing time and energy into YouTube, what do you do? Who do you listen to prepare for your videos?
Well, I think that the thing about listening to YouTube advice, and I even talk about it on this channel, is that it is fantastic to listen to many people to get a different idea of how people operate in this YouTube space. But sometimes you even tell me that I consume too much information and I should create more instead of watching every single possible video about how to be a YouTuber,
Yeah, I think it can be a trap sometimes. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like it can be a trap sometimes because these people are, there's like an unlimited amount of videos to watch when it comes to creating content. So you can always be surrounding yourself with how to grow your YouTube channel, how to do this better, or how I succeeded. You can always surround yourself. So I understand the fact that, well, the idea that if you surround yourself with success and positive things, it will go into your brain. I really understand that. But for me personally, I would get burnt out. So when it comes to creating the content, it doesn't feel fresh in a way. So my personal philosophy is just try to create more content than you're consuming, because when you are creating content, when you are doing, then you are learning as you go. And I can compare it to a singer, for example, that would make 1,000 songs, but they would only have that one viral hit, that one song that everyone loves, that's singing all around the world. And that one song made them. And they may feel frustrated that people only know them by that one song because they've made 999 other songs and people don't know those songs. But they got to that point by doing. That's my personal philosophy. So how much time and energy is taken up by consuming YouTube content?
Well, I think it's ironic that we're talking about this as well, because this channel is about, YouTube advice.
Yeah.
But I think when I started off, I consumed far more. But now I'm trying to balance. I'm trying to push out content, because I understand that, yes, I still have to learn. And I learn every day. And every day I do listen to information about YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, because I actually find it really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, people operate differently.
Yeah.
You may not want to do that, but I want to do it. So what works for you, may not work for me, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And I think, there's an emotional cost of being a YouTuber. And a lot of the time, people underestimate the emotional cost of being a YouTuber because they think YouTube is all fun and games. What are your thoughts on that?
I think like if you see YouTube as a hobby and you can distance yourself, then it's like, this is just a hobby, I'm doing it for fun. But if it explodes, then if you have like a viral hit, a viral video, then you can feel under more pressure to try and replicate that success. So yes, it can be all fun and games, but YouTube is so big, and the potential there to grow your own business, to grow your own brand, because there are so many eyeballs on YouTube videos. So it's kind of a bit silly not to take it a bit seriously in terms of creating content with intention.
I don't think it's a bit silly to not take it seriously. I think if we only see it for fun,
Yeah.
then it is fun. Then you shouldn't be forced to see it from a business side of view.
Yeah.
And similarly, if you see it as a business, then people shouldn't say you should only see it for fun.
I say this because when you are creating the videos, YouTube is showing adverts on your videos. So you might as well get some money from it to even pay for like a video, a camera or a drone. It makes sense.
But let's talk about that, right?
Yeah.
The emotional side and the emotional cost of actually trying to reach monetization. I have a monetized channel, not this one. You have a monetized channel.
Yeah.
For us to even get monetized, right?
Yeah.
It took a lot of effort. Okay, a lot of time. It took me over a year, it took you over a year.
Yeah.
Okay. So people think that once you get monetized, that's it. You're getting that AdSense money, that money is flowing, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But what's the reality? What's the cost of getting monetized, leading up to monetization, and the cost of the emotional highs and lows once you
Okay.
actually get the
So-
AdSense money in?
So financially, you need to have a decent camera or phone. So if you don't have one, then you'll have to spend some money on that. Then microphones, you'll have to spend some money on that. And then editing software. You can use free software, but we pay for our editing software. And then editing your thumbnails, again, you can use a free version of Canva. I have the pro version. So all of these costs can start to add up financially, even small things like having a tripod. And once the bug hits you, you may think, okay, let me film or vlog out and about. Then you will think, okay, my camera will be enough, but then you realize that the camera is shaky. So you want to invest in something better, like a gimbal or something like the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, for example, to help you to vlog better. Yeah, so the emotional cost is things like having burnout, which is very real. So like, because you have this expectation in creating and seeing the results, you can burn out. And it's also the amount, because you said that I was almost creating a video every day.
Yes.
And this was to get monetized because I passed the 1 year threshold and I wasn't getting monetized for videos that I had created that were very popular. So I thought, right, I need to just become very extreme, and I was creating content every single day. And you can become burnt out.
You did suffer from burnout.
I did, yeah. And even if you're creating just a few videos a week, you can still suffer from burnout if, I think, you keep checking the analytics. So for me, I find a way not to check the analytics. And you want to be creating content that's easy for yourself to create and to edit. And I think one of the things that I learned was when you're creating content, try to imagine that you are actually recording live right now. And this can help. For some people, it can help. For other people, they may feel under too much pressure. For me, after creating hundreds of videos, I realized this was the best way. Because if you imagine that this is actually live right now, you can't go back and edit things out later and make things perfect. It enables you to create content that is authentic and more real, and it saves you time and effort when it comes to editing. Because if you are working from a script and you are very precise, hitting all of the points, it can take a long time, I think, to create content. So what do you think about when it comes to the true cost? Do you think people understand?
I think for
Because-
me personally, going to YouTube, I didn't think that so many aspects of it would be so difficult.
Yeah.
I understand that some aspects are easy, okay, but even the fact of, being able to talk on camera like this and feeling comfortable and not being scared. It took me such a long time to not feel so nervous. Even now, I am a bit nervous. And, the cost of psyching yourself up, the cost of feeling confident, the cost of putting your fear away and like actually saying, I'm going to do this. It's that emotional toll that it takes on you at times when you have that anxiety about creating content, that anxiety about, is my content going to actually perform well? Are people watching? Are people actually interested in what I'm talking about? And sometimes, I have found strangely that YouTube has actually helped build my confidence in certain ways, definitely.
Okay.
But I also didn't realize like the financial cost. Like I'm trying to do this full time.
Yeah.
If I was working elsewhere, I'd be getting more money.
Yeah.
Okay. But then I also think, well, I am now 42 years old. I only have a certain amount of time left in this world.
Yeah.
And I don't want to regret not trying YouTube.
Well, what is it about YouTube that ignites your fire and your passion? What do you love about it?
I think that it is such a fantastic platform because you're so easily able to connect with people from all over the world. And because, you are 43, I'm 42, we didn't grow up with having YouTube.
Yeah.
So now we have the ability to be able to communicate with people from all over the world.
Yeah.
And I know when I watch YouTube, I get informed, I get educated,
Yeah.
and it's so wonderful, So why not? If you have something to share with the world and you really want to do it, why not? So yes, we're talking about the cost of being a YouTuber, the emotional, the financial, the time investment, all of that.
Yeah.
But we are not slating YouTube. Let's
Yeah.
get that clear. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not slating YouTube. I actually really enjoy YouTube. There's sometimes when it feels like, oh, crappy,
Yeah.
definitely.
No,
Okay.
I think YouTube is fantastic. I mean, I've learned so much from YouTube, like free tech tutorials on technology. I've learned so much from it. And if I wasn't creating content, I would still be using it, and I still do use YouTube all the time. And I've discovered like a lot of really interesting podcasts. I think it's helped to expand my mind. When you are consuming news content, for example, you are fed a certain narrative, but YouTube allows people to talk about things that you would not hear about in the news. And for me, that's amazing. So it gives people a platform to really talk about interesting things. And there's so many different niches. And I think YouTube is fantastic. So I think coming back full circle to the topic that we're talking about, the true cost of being a YouTuber, I think if you go into it with having the mindset that there will be a cost involved in creating good content, that's just the reality. Because if you try and record on a really old phone with bad audio, it's not really going to work, and you want to give yourself the best chances of success. Having said that, you don't have to spend a ridiculous amount of money. Try and buy things that are secondhand or used, and try and master what you have to get the most out of it.
And when you are a YouTuber and you start getting money with AdSense, you also realize why so many YouTubers actually diversify the way that they make money. The courses, the products, the services, one-on-one consulting, etc. Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to add extra income in, but it's something that you have to be aware of if you want to monetize your channel. AdSense is not enough. Unless you have a lot of viral videos, it's not enough. So you need to be thinking about affiliate links, looking for affiliates that connected to the niche that you're talking about. Also having a course or having collaborations with other YouTubers or other companies. So I think having this mindset will allow you to branch out and just have the mindset of, I'm going to give this a try. Not that, okay, now it has to work, because that gives you a lot of pressure. Just try it. Just reach out to those companies. Just send them an email. Reach out to the people. Reach out to other YouTubers to have a collaboration. What's the worst that could happen? They could say no, and then that's fine. But having that mindset of being more flexible, I think, is a good way to approach it.
So for people who want to start a YouTube channel,
Yeah.
irrespective of all the costs we've mentioned,
Yeah.
what would you say to them?
I would say go for it. Be realistic. Maybe ask a friend to have a look at the video that you've created.
I actually say don't ask a
No,
friend,
don't.
because honestly, when you
Yeah.
involve friends and family, it
True.
puts more pressure on you.
True. I just think that sometimes when you create a video and you think it's good, but when you look at it, okay, there are things that you could maybe do a bit differently. But that's just something to think about.
Yes, I think, if you want to start a YouTube channel, the thing is, don't overthink it. Start. And you will see that over time, you will learn things. Like, I'm still learning, and there's so much to learn, and I get that. Sometimes it's frustrating, but I also get that the learning curve continues with YouTube. It doesn't end.
Yeah.
And if you enjoyed this video, go and watch this video next and have a fantastic week. Do subscribe and share.
Thanks. See you in the next one. Bye.